The night my father was buried, I stood at his grave and thought the worst was already behind me. I was wrong. 14 days later, my stepmother was standing in the doorway of my childhood bedroom, telling me a stranger was moving into it. What I did not tell her was that 3 tiny cameras had been watching her for months. What those cameras recorded made a courtroom go silent, made her own lawyer drop his pen, and made her scream a confession in front of a judge. But before I tell you what she did, I need you to understand something. She thought she had won. She thought she had gotten away with it. She had no idea I already knew everything. Stay with me, because what you are about to hear is the slowest, quietest revenge you will ever witness, and it ends with handcuffs. 2 weeks. That is how long my father had been in the ground when she came from my room. "Pack your things," she said. "Brett is moving in." She was leaning against my bedroom door frame, arms crossed, nails, freshly manicured red polish so bright it looked wet. The house still smelled like funeral flowers. Lilies mostly, too sweet. Cloying. The kind of smell that clings to your clothes long after the mourners are gone. "This is my room," I said. "Dad left me." "Your dad left me the house. Check the will if you do not believe me." She smiled. Thin. Cold. A smile that did not touch her eyes. "You have until Friday to get your stuff out." I was 19 years old, a college sophomore. This was the room where my father had read me bedtime stories, where we had built Lego sets on the floor for hours, where he had sat on the edge of the bed at midnight helping me study for the SATs when my brain was too tired to keep going. Every inch of that room was him. "Where am I supposed to go?" My voice came out quiet. "That is not my problem anymore." She examined her nails, picked at a cuticle. "You are an adult. 19. You can figure it out. Get an apartment, stay with friends. Whatever." "Friday," she repeated. Then she turned and her heels clicked down the hardwood floor my father had refinished 2 years ago on his hands and knees on a Saturday morning while I brought him lemonade. I did not argue. I did not yell. I did not cry. I just stood there. Because here's the thing she did not know. Here's the thing nobody knew. 3 weeks before my father died, I had installed cameras in this house. Not for her. Not because I suspected anything. For him. For my dad. He had been getting confused those last few months, forgetting where he put his keys, forgetting appointments, forgetting to take his medication. The doctor said stress, work pressure, age, nothing serious, but I worried. So I ordered 3 small motion-activated cameras off Amazon. Cheap ones. Cloud storage. I put them in the kitchen, the living room, and the hallway. I told my father about them. He laughed. Called me his little bodyguard. Said thank you. I never told Linda, and now sitting on my bedroom floor Thursday night, surrounded by moving boxes on the last night I would ever sleep in that room, I remembered them. I remembered the cameras. I opened the app on my phone. I scrolled back. I started with the week before my father died, and what I saw on that screen made my hands go cold. Let me back up, because to understand what happened next, you need to understand who Linda was. My father married her 4 years ago. I never liked her. She was fake, too interested in his money, his house, his investments. She would ask him questions at dinner about his portfolio, the way someone asks a doctor about a diagnosis. Too specific, too eager. But my father was happy. Or he seemed happy. And after my mother died when I was 11, that was all I ever wanted for him. So I kept my mouth shut. I was polite. I called her Linda, not Mom. I came home for holidays. I smiled in family photos. 3 weeks ago he died. Suddenly, heart attack, 62 years old. Too young, too sudden. At the funeral, Linda cried into Brett's shoulder. Brett, her friend. Her friend, she had known for exactly 2 months. She met him at the gym. He was there for support, she told everyone. He was so kind to check on me. I thought it was grief. People cope differently. I told myself. Some people need support from new friends. That is what I told myself. Some people need support from new friends. That is what I told myself. Because the alternative was too ugly to think about. Now, 2 weeks after the funeral, Brett was moving into my bedroom. And I was sitting on my floor with a phone in my hand, watching video footage from the kitchen the week before my father died. The first video looked normal. Linda in the kitchen, morning light through the window, Dad at the table with his coffee mug and his newspaper, his pill organizer in front of him. The big plastic one with compartments for each day of the week. Here, honey, Linda says. Her voice is sweet, caring. She hands him a glass of water. Do not forget your heart medication. Dad smiles at her. Thanks, Lynn. He takes the pills from the organizer, swallows them with water. She kisses the top of his head. Love you. Love you too. Normal. Sweet. Nothing wrong. I almost stopped watching, but I did not. Next day, same time. Same routine. Do not forget your pills, sweetheart. She hands him the organizer, but this time, something is off. Her hand moves wrong, quick, awkward, like she is hiding something. I sat up straighter. I rewound the video. I watched it again, slower this time, full screen, my thumb hovering over the pause button. And there it was. She is palming something. Her right hand is closed. Her left hand opens the organizer. She switches the pills, takes his pills out, puts different ones in, all in one smooth motion. Under 3 seconds, practiced, my stomach dropped. I watched the next day, same thing. The next day, same thing. 5 days of footage. Every single morning. Every single night. Linda switching my father's heart medication. My father trusting her. Taking them without looking. Kissing her forehead. Thanking her. She was systematic. She was patient. She was careful. Always when he was not looking directly at the organizer. Always with a smile. Always with, I love you. And then I got to the last day. The day my father died. I want you to remember something before I tell you what I saw on that last video. She had already planned Brett moving in. She had already picked out her widow's dress. She had already texted friends about a fresh start. All of that was already in motion before he took his last breath. She was not grieving. She was closing a deal. The last morning. Dad's face is pale, tired. He looks sick. Lynn, he says, I do not feel right. You are fine. Just tired. She does not look up from her phone. She is scrolling, texting someone. My chest feels tight. It is anxiety. You worry too much. Afternoon. Dad is at the kitchen table on his laptop. His face has gone gray. He is sweating. His shirt is dark under the arms. He stands up, clutches his chest. Linda, something is wrong. Something is really wrong. You are fine. Stop being dramatic. She is still on her phone. I cannot breathe. Jesus, you are like a child. Sit down. Take a breath. He does not sit down. He falls. He falls hard. His head hits the corner of the table on the way down. Then the floor. There is a sound I will hear in my dreams for the rest of my life. And Linda. Linda looks up. She watches him. She just watches. For 4 seconds she does nothing. I counted. I watched it back and I counted. Then she stands. Slowly, she walks over. She kneels beside him. She puts 2 fingers on his neck. She waits. She checks her phone. She checks the time. She waits. She checks his pulse again. She waits longer. Then she calls 911. And now she is screaming. Now she is screaming. Now she is haranguing. Now she is hysterical. My husband, he collapsed. Please hurry. Oh God, please hurry. Perfect performance. Oscar-worthy. I sat in my empty room surrounded by cardboard boxes and I watched that footage 3 more times. I needed to be sure I was not imagining it. I was not imagining it. She had killed him. Deliberately. Systematically. Over weeks, maybe months. And then, when he collapsed, she had timed his death like a woman waiting for pasta water to boil. My hands were shaking. My whole body was shaking. I could not feel my legs, and then something inside me went very, very still. I picked up my phone. I called a lawyer. I need to contest a will, I said. My voice was steady. I do not know how, but it was steady. And I think my stepmother murdered my father. Now here is where most people would have called the police that same night. Sirens, handcuffs, cameras outside the house. A quick, messy public arrest. But I did not want quick. I did not want messy. I wanted her to feel safe first. I wanted her to feel like she had won. Friday came. Moving day. I loaded my things into my friend Marcus's truck. Box after box. 19 years of a life reduced to a dozen cardboard boxes and 3 suitcases. Linda stood on the porch watching, arms crossed, smiling slightly. Brett's car was already in the driveway. His first box was already going into my room. I did not say goodbye. I did not look at her. I loaded the last box and I got in the passenger seat. She texted me that evening, "Good riddance. Brett loves his new room. The light really is better." I did not respond. I spent the weekend with a lawyer. His name was David Rothman, 50-something. Sharp. Expensive suit. Handled both estate law and criminal defense, which is exactly what I needed. I showed him everything. Every video. Every frame. Every switch of the pills. The last day. The 4 seconds she stood over my father's body, doing nothing. His face went pale. Progressively paler as the videos played. By the last video, his jaw was tight. His hands were flat on the table. He could not finish the sentence. Jesus Christ. We need to go to the police right now. Not yet, I said. He looked at me. What? I want her in court first. For the will. In front of everyone. Family. Friends. Neighbors. Everyone who thinks she is the grieving widow. I want them all in one room. Then I want to show them what she is. He stared at me for a long time. You are sure? I am completely sure. She thinks she won. I want her to feel safe. Comfortable. Victorious. And then I want to destroy her. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. Okay. But the police get everything the minute we leave that courtroom. No delays. Agreed. The will hearing was set for 3 weeks later. Probate court. Standard procedure. 3 weeks. 3 weeks of pretending. 3 weeks of sleeping on Marcus's couch. Going to class. Taking notes on economics and European history while a woman who murdered my father slept in my father's bed with her new boyfriend. Linda posted on Facebook photos of her and Brett, finding happiness again after tragedy. Dad would want me to move forward. Grateful for love in the darkness. Comments poured in from her friends. You deserve happiness. So glad he found someone. He is so handsome. Your husband would want this for you. I did not comment. I did not react. I did not block her. I watched. Every single post. Every single photo. Every single lie. She had no idea. She had absolutely no idea what was coming. And that is what I want you to sit with for a moment. Because the entire time she was smiling for those Facebook photos, the entire time she was picking out new curtains for what used to be my room, the entire time she was laughing over wine with Brett, a USB drive was sitting on my lawyer's desk. 6 minutes of footage. 6 minutes that would end her life as she knew it. She just did not know it yet. The day of the hearing arrived. The courtroom was small. Wood paneling. Fluorescent lights. The smell of old paper and furniture polish, the kind of room where nothing exciting was ever supposed to happen. Linda showed up in full black. Widow's weeds. A veil. She dabbed her eyes with a tissue. She played the part perfectly. Brett was beside her, hand on her back. Supportive boyfriend supporting the grieving widow. Some of Dad's friends were there. Colleagues, distant relatives, a few neighbors. They looked at Linda with sympathy. They looked at me with something closer to pity. The poor stepson. Left out of the will, probably. Making trouble. Being ungrateful. I sat across the room. Quiet, calm. My lawyer beside me with a laptop closed on the table and a USB drive in his briefcase. Linda's lawyer went first. Expensive suit, slicked back hair. Your Honor, this is straightforward. Mrs. Patterson is the legal surviving spouse. The house, the assets, the investments, everything passes to her per the will and per state law. There is no dispute here. The judge nodded. Older woman. Reading glasses low on her nose. Mr. Rothman. Any objections? My lawyer stood, buttoned his jacket. His voice was calm. Yes, Your Honor. We are contesting on the grounds of fraud and suspected homicide. The room went completely silent. Every head turned. Linda's head snapped up. What? We have video evidence, my lawyer continued, that Mrs. Patterson systematically poisoned her husband in the days and weeks leading to his death. That is insane. Linda's voice cracked. Loud, shrill. He had a heart attack. Natural causes. The death certificate says caused by deliberate medication tampering, my lawyer finished, which we can prove beyond any doubt. The judge leaned forward. Mr. Rothman, this is an extremely serious accusation. Yes, Your Honor. We have extensive footage from cameras installed in the home for Mr. Patterson's medical care. Cameras Mrs. Patterson was unaware of. Linda's lawyer was pale. Sweating. Your Honor, we were not informed of any such evidence. We had no notice. We are informing you now. My lawyer opened his laptop, set it on the table. May I present the evidence? The judge looked at Linda's lawyer. Any objection? He stammered. Your Honor, I need time to review. Denied. This is a will hearing, not a trial. I want to see what we are dealing with. She looked at my lawyer. Proceed. He connected the laptop to the courtroom display screen. Large screen on the wall. Everyone could see. Everyone could see. Everyone. The video played. Linda in the kitchen. Dad at the table. Morning light. His pill organizer. Her hand switching the pills. Someone in the back of the courtroom inhaled sharply. Next day. Same motion. Next day. Same motion. 5 days of footage condensed into 6 minutes. I was not watching the screen. I was watching Linda. I watched the color drain from her face. I watched her hands start to shake. I watched Brett slowly slide away from her on the bench. And then the last day started to play. The pale face, the gray skin, the collapse, the sound of his head hitting the table. The 4 seconds Linda stood over him doing nothing. Checking her phone, checking the time. Then the scream, then the perfect crying performance for the 911 operator. The video ended. The courtroom was silent. Dead silent. You could hear breathing. You could hear the hum of the fluorescent lights. You could hear someone's stomach gurgle. You could hear Linda's tissue crumpling in her fist. She was shaking, her face completely white. Bloodless. That is out of context. My voice cut through the silence. First time I had spoken all day. Everyone turned. What context makes watching someone die okay? Linda's eyes found mine. Wide. Terrified. I did not. You did. For 3 months. Maybe longer. Switching his heart medication. Giving him the wrong pills. Anything that would trigger a heart attack. So you could inherit everything. So you could move your boyfriend into my room 2 weeks after the funeral. No. Her voice broke. Desperate. No. I loved him. I loved your father. You loved his money, his house, his life insurance. The $400,000 policy he took out when he married you. I had done my research. I had found the policy. I had found the credit card debt. I had found the second mortgage she had been quietly asking a broker about. I had found all of it. Brett was standing now, backing away from her. Looking at her like she was a stranger. Like he had never seen her before in his life. Linda, he said. Linda. What did you? Linda's lawyer dropped his pen. It clattered on the table. Your Honor, I need to consult with my client immediately. Your client needs a criminal defense attorney. The judge's voice was ice. Cold and sharp. I am suspending this hearing immediately and forwarding all evidence to the police and the district attorney. 2 police officers stepped into the courtroom from the back. They had been waiting in the hall. My lawyer had arranged it days ago. Linda Patterson, she looked at me. Eyes desperate, pleading, tears streaming down her face and taking her mascara with them. Please, she said. Please, I did not mean it. It was an accident. A mistake accident. My voice stayed level, calm. You did it every single day for months. The officers moved closer, hands on their belts. And that is when Linda broke, completely broke, full sobbing, hysterical. Words tumbling out of her like a dam had burst. I am sorry. I am so sorry. He was supposed to leave me everything anyway. I needed it faster. I have debts. I could not wait. Her lawyer grabbed her arm hard. Stop talking. Linda, stop talking right now. Too late. The whole room had heard it. The judge had heard it. The court reporter had heard it. 28 witnesses had heard it. The judge stood. Mrs. Patterson, based on this evidence and your own statements, you are under arrest for suspected murder in the first degree. Officers take her into custody. They moved forward, pulled out handcuffs. No, please. Linda struggled. Tried to pull away. I did not mean it. I loved him. Please. You have the right to remain silent. They cuffed her while she sobbed and screamed. Her veil fell to the floor. Her heels snapped as she tried to twist away. Brett had disappeared. Slipped out the side door. Gone. He never testified. He never called. He never messaged her again as far as I know. The courtroom was chaos. People talking. Gasping. Someone crying. One of my dad's oldest friends put his hands over his face. The officers walked Linda toward the door. She was still sobbing. Makeup running. Black mascara streaking her cheeks. And then she looked back at me. One more time. One last desperate look. I stared back. I said nothing. I just watched her go. The courtroom slowly cleared. People filing out, whispering. Staring at me. My lawyer touched my shoulder. The house reverts to you, he said quietly. All assets. Everything. The will is void due to fraud. Good. The DA wants the full footage. All cameras. Everything you have. I will send it tonight. You did the right thing. I nodded. But it did not feel like the right thing. I nodded. But it did not feel like the right thing. It felt empty. Hollow. My chest felt like something had been carved out of it. Because I want you to understand something. I did not walk out of that courtroom feeling like I had won. I walked out of that courtroom knowing that I had traded my father for a conviction. She was in handcuffs. Yes, he was still in the ground. Linda's sobs echoed from the hallway, getting quieter, further away, until I could not hear them at all. I picked up my bag. I walked out the opposite door into the parking lot. Afternoon sun, normal day, cars passing, people on their phones, life continuing as if nothing had happened. As if a man had not been murdered. As if his son had not just spent 3 weeks pretending to be broken so he could destroy the woman who broke him. Marcus was waiting by his truck. How did it go? She is arrested. Good. You okay? No. Yeah. Fair. We got in the truck. We drove away. I never went back to that courthouse. Linda was charged with first-degree murder 2 days later. The footage was irrefutable. Her confession in the courtroom sealed it. Her lawyer tried to have it thrown out. He failed. 28 witnesses, a court reporter, a judge. She pleaded guilty 6 months later. Life without the possibility of parole. She will die in prison. And every morning for the rest of her life, she will wake up in a concrete room and remember the day the screen turned on in that courtroom, and everyone she knew washed her hand. Her husband, his death. I got the house back. I sold it. I could not sleep in it. Not after what I had seen on that footage. Every room had a memory of him. And now every room had a memory of her, too. And I could not separate them. I used the money to finish college. To bury my father properly with a headstone he deserved. To donate to the Heart Disease Foundation in his name. To pay Marcus back for every meal and every night on his couch. I visited my dad's grave the week after the sentencing. I sat there on the grass for a long time. I told him what happened. I told him I was sorry I had not seen it sooner. I told him I was sorry the cameras I'd put up to protect him had only captured his death and not prevented it. And then I said something I had not been able to say at his funeral. I had not been able to say it because Linda had been standing 3 feet away pretending to cry into Brett's shoulder, and I had not wanted to give her a single tear of mine. I said I loved him. I said I missed him. I said I would carry him with me for the rest of my life. and the wind moved through the trees above his grave, and I let myself cry. For the first time since the day he died, I let myself cry. Not for revenge, not for justice, just for him. For my dad. For the man who read me bedtime stories and refinished the hardwood floors and helped me study for the SATs and called me his little bodyguard 3 weeks before he was killed. I still have the app on my phone. The cameras are long gone, the house is long sold. But the footage is still there in the cloud. Every frame of it. I have never watched it again. I do not need to. Some things you only need to see once to know them forever. If you made it all the way to the end of this story, I need you to do 3 things for me right now. Hit that like button because it genuinely helps this story reach someone else who needs to hear that the quiet ones, the patient ones, the ones who say nothing while the world takes everything from them, are not weak. They are watching. They are waiting. And they're the ones you should be afraid of. Subscribe to this channel because there are more stories like this one. Real ones. Slow ones. Stories about ordinary people who lost everything and found a way to make the truth impossible to ignore. And leave a comment. Tell me what you would have done if you were 19 years old standing in the doorway of your own bedroom with a phone in your hand and 6 minutes of footage that could either be handed to the police that night or saved for a courtroom 3 weeks later. Would you have waited? Would you have made her feel safe first? Would you have wanted her to know in front of everyone she had ever lied to exactly who she was? I want to hear it. Every answer. I read them all. And to whoever is watching this tonight and thinking that nobody sees what is being done to you, somebody sees. Somebody always sees. Keep your receipts. Keep your footage. Keep your footage. Keep your quiet. And when the moment comes, do not raise your voice. Just press play.